The Red Sea crisis does not seem to die down with the Houthi rebels intensifying their attack over the crucial waterway. A recent conflict has resulted in the cutting of 3 underwater sea cables that provide internet and telecommunications globally. The cables were targeted by Yemen's Houthi rebels, as per the officials. Now, as a result, internet providers are forced to reroute a quarter of traffic between Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. Now, the exact cause of the cuts is unknown. Now, the affected cables include Asia-Africa Europe 1, a 25,000-kilometer cable system connecting Southeast Asia to Europe via Egypt, that is, and the Europe-India Gateway, spanning 15,000 kilometers, CECOM and TGN Gulf, which accounts for 25% of the traffic flowing through the Red Sea. Now, India's Tata Communications, behind the CECOM TGN Gulf line, has taken immediate action to address the issue. The data traffic from Asia to Europe has been rerouted as an immediate step. Let's also tell you that the Yemeni government in exile earlier alleged that the Houthis planned to attack the cables. However, they have denied targeting the cables and instead blamed the British and US military operations. Shinjoy, my colleague, joins me for more. Shinjoy, very good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us here. As far as this attack, what do we know so far and how are we looking at this, considering we're understanding that the Houthis have instead now blamed the British and US military operations for the same?
Well, how the British and Americans can do this and why they will do something that will actually hurt themselves is hard to believe. But the point is that these cables have been cut. And there were warnings earlier that these cables were going to be cut. Now, this will hurt people like all of us, and it will hurt business interests all over the world because a lot of business communication goes through these cables. You already know about the attacks on tankers and other ships in the Red Sea area by the Houthis. Now you know about these cables being cut. So this is a crisis. And of course, there are ways to go around the crisis. But at this point, it will hurt people and it will clearly affect business because despite efforts, there will have to be efforts by all these communication agencies to ensure that business communication and other communication does go through. Otherwise, it all becomes very difficult for everybody. Of course, we have to find out for sure who is responsible for cutting these cables. Now the Houthis are saying that the Americans and British have done it. The Yemenis had warned that this could be done by the Houthis. The West is saying that the Houthis are responsible. Eventually, we will have to find out who was responsible and ensure that communications continue. The worry is, even after the cables are repaired, they can easily be cut again. So we'll have to see what happens now, because it's a difficult time in the Red Sea area.
Absolutely, Shinjoy, and as you point that out, a quick follow-up question with the fact that this was, of course, affecting the data and financial communications between Europe and Asia as well.
Yes, undoubtedly, and that is a major worry for many of these countries because a lot of business communication goes through these cables. Now, Hong Kong, Singapore, Mumbai are major areas of business and they have to communicate with the West, with London, with Paris, with New York. How else do you do it except through these cables? And once these cables are cut, there is a problem. There is a deficiency. The worry is that even if you repair it, the Houthis may be in a position to cut it. And where they will cut it, when they will cut it, is all up in the air. So it's an area of concern. And how this will be dealt with is something that we'll have to see. Because this is a cause of concern, a serious concern, actually.
Shinjoy, and just before I let you go, would you see this as a way to intensify their attack as well?
Undoubtedly, if the Houthis have done it, they have hit an area which is really a soft underbelly, because this is something that can be done and quite easily, in fact. And once you do it, these cables are undersea cables. If you actually cut them somewhere, how do you know where they're going to be cut, when they are going to be cut? And of course, the damage caused is considerable. So if these cables are cut again and again in the future, even after they've been repaired, it becomes a serious problem.
Absolutely. And on that note, Chandra, I want to thank you for joining us in the broadcast, helping us better understand the situation and the potential dangers that this would have in the future. But for the moment, we're going to have to leave it at that. But we continue to track more